presented in the video. This is a good thing. But unfortunately, there are some people who insist that no, the Nazis were in fact still left-wing somehow. Of course, a lot of them simply can't explain to me how that is, nor can they really counter what I present to them, but still they insist. I'm gonna give these people one last chance. One last chance of accepting the truth. There are legitimate authoritarians in history that you could point to if you want to argue against economic socialism. The Soviets are a very good example. The Soviets actually were economic socialists. But no, for some reason these people, they want to make the Nazis into socialists, which is just very odd to me. If you want to argue against economic socialism, you already have a perfect example from history to choose from. But let's begin. A common criticism that I've heard from people on the right who want to pretend that the Nazis were left-wing was, well, a lot of the anti-socialist propaganda came after the war began with the Soviet Union. Wrong. You are factually wrong. Fact is, the Nazis, long before the war with the Soviet Union, had a great anti-socialist and anti-communist propaganda machine going. Hitler and the Nazis outlawed socialism and executed socialists and communists en masse, even before they started rounding up the Jews. In 1933, the Dachau concentration camp held socialists exclusively. Now I'm gonna read from a book called Hitler and Mussolini, The Secret Meetings. Severe political repression through a well-organized secret police, the OVRA in Italy and the Gestapo in Germany, and visceral ideological positions that included anti-liberalism, anti-communism, and anti-socialism were the common traits of both the fascist and Nazi regimes. The Nazis inaugurated concentration camps as early as February of 1933, with Dachau outside of Munich used originally to isolate communists and other opposition politicians, along with the first Jews who were openly persecuted prior to the Nuremberg racial laws of 1935. As if that is not enough, the Nazis arrested more than 11,000 Germans for so-called illegal socialist activity in 1936. In other words, if you are claiming that the only reason the Nazis persecuted socialists was because they were at war with the Soviet Union, you are either a liar or you are simply ignorant of basic history. And if you are lying and not ignorant, you should honestly be ashamed of yourself. You are no better than the tankies, somehow claiming that Stalin was not such a bad guy after all. You are a historical revisionist on the same level as those denying the Holocaust, or denying all the atrocities done by Stalin. Now I'm gonna read some material from the German Propaganda Archive. From 1936 to 1938, the Nazis waged a variety of anti-Bolshevist campaigns. Note, long before the war with the Soviet Union, Hitler and Goebbels, among others, made major speeches at the Nuremberg rallies. Numerous books and articles assailed the Soviet Union. In 1937, there was a major anti-Bolshevist exhibit produced by the party's Central Propaganda Office that traveled to major cities. This is a translation of the program book for that exhibition. The booklet includes 16 pages of photographs and the exhibits, one of which I have included here, though I may add more as time permits. With the signing of the German-Russian Treaty in August 1939, anti-Bolshevist propaganda ceased abruptly until the attack on Russia in June 1941. Soon after which the Nazi Party organized another major anti-Bolshevist exhibit. Bolshevism without its mask. Spain is the crossroads of the world. These words hit the mark on the international significance of the Spanish situation. That is what is here. Here the choice must be made between Bolshevism on the one side, meaning destruction and anarchy, and authority and construction on the other side. Europe should see and recognize the danger of Bolshevism. We will never tire of pointing it out. Without fear, we want to point the finger at the Jew, the instigator, the cause, and the beneficiary of this terrible catastrophe. See there is the enemy of the world, the destroyer of cultures, the parasite among the people, the son of the chaos, the incarnation of evil, the ferment of decomposition, the plastic demon of the collapse of humanity. By Dr. Goebbels. Bolshevism throughout the world. This world is once again filled with the noise of war, of bloody uprisings, strikes and mutinies, of terror and cowardly murder. Irreconcilable brotherly hatred divides the people and saps the strength of their lives. Mankind and peoples seem to stand helplessly against the confusing and senseless game played by mysterious unknown forces. Yet behind all the senseless rage of destruction stands a single power whose aim is to destroy the culture of the peoples of this earth and build its bloody world domination on the ruins, the world domination of Bolshevism. That this is in fact its goal is clear in the documents of the Communist International, which proclaim to all of the world. Communist uprisings throughout the world and strikes in America or in France serves this goal, as does the horror of Bolshevism in Spain. A thick network of communist parties and conspiratorial centers spans the globe, assiduously ready to follow Moscow's bloody orders absolutely and without question. Thus, organized subhumanity plays with the fate of peoples and states, with the fate of many hundreds of millions of people who wish only to live and work in peace. Peace, however, is Bolshevism's worst enemy, which it must destroy in order to realize its plan for world domination. Thus, Bolshevism's ever-repeated life and death declarations of battle against the whole world become all too understandable. Where the poison of communist subversion is not directly at work, the united fronts of Marxist parties in every people's work to make them ripe for the bloody seed of Bolshevist destruction. In France, this new tactic of international Bolshevism is in its early stages, but in Spain it has already reached its epitome. With bloodthirstiness of insane horror, Bolshevism is erecting the dictatorship of Jewry on the ruins of the Spanish people, its culture, and its economy. Terror, uprisings, and murder as tools of the Jewish Bolshevist world revolution. Only a few peoples has the courage and the inner strength to free themselves from the horrible grip of the world Bolshevism, declaring a battle of life and death. The new Germany and Mussolini's Italy are Europe's strong bulwark against the red storm from the east. Japan stands guard on its borders. Spain is destroying red tyranny in its land. There are peoples, however, who do not see and do not want to see their bitterest enemy. The Führer called out to them to fight for the freedom of the peoples and the purity of their cultures, extending his hand to guarantee peace and order in this world. We call on the peoples of the earth to join together against the danger of Bolshevism, if they do not want to fall into the pit of a terrible and unforeseeable fate. Soviet Russia, the Bolshevist paradise. Tortured Russia knows how little the ruling party circles are interested in realizing paradise, and how much they are involved in bloody struggles for power between Jewish leaders, incapable of any creative accomplishments. They destroy all social order, destroy all cultures and all ethnic life, creating chaos in which humanity threatens to collapse. The intentional destruction of the Russian family, just like the systemic destruction of Russian ethnicity, is intended to make impossible any defense against Bolshevism's bloody dictatorship. This fact was stated with brutal openness at the Comintern Congress in 1924. The destruction of the family has had its worst effects on the youth, the living future of every people. Hordes of starving children fill Russia's country roads, becoming homeless tramps and criminals without a conscience. Bolshevism knew of no other way to deal with this youth misery than through a truly barbaric measure, the death penalty for children. The battle against God reveals the same desire to destroy ethnic life and dissolve all moral relations. Above all, the law was corrupted by the terror of the GPU, and this system of injustice is used in the battle against the peasantry. As an owning class, it was liquidated, or in other words, exterminated, or else sent to slave labor camps or reduced as wage slaves of Jewish rulers in collective farms. Italy's battle against Bolshevism. After World War, Bolshevism also threatened Italy. Communist agitators dominated the streets, provoked conflicts, and committed terrorist acts to establish Bolshevism and destroy the Italian people. Mussolini fought them by founding his fascist party, which from the beginning was determined to put an end to Bolshevism. 3,000 martyrs of the fascist movement sacrificed their lives to free Italy. Communist mass murders in Sarana, Modena, Bologna, Teatro Diana, and in Milan led to ever new battles, which after long years came to a victorious end with the March on Rome. The bloody hand of Bolshevism reached for Spain. The black shirts of the fascist movement faced their old enemy once again. Side by side, they fought with National Spain. Here, too, Bolshevism demanded an insane bloody sacrifice from its rank. 1,200 fascists have so far given their lives for Spain's freedom, and therefore for Europe's freedom, true to the words of their great leader. It is hardly surprising that we today raise the anti-Bolshevist banner. That is our old flag. We were born under this symbol. We have fought against this enemy, and we have defeated him with our sacrifice and with our blood. There's plenty more to read from this exhibit, but I'm not going to now. Instead, I'm gonna link to this so you can read on your own. But I am gonna read some more from another exhibit by the Nazi Party Central Propaganda Office. As early as 1934, an exhibition was organized. Its goal was to inform the German people about the dreadful conditions in the Soviet Union. The exhibition's organizers often had the feeling that their portrayal of conditions in the Soviet Union was far from accurate. This feeling has since been confirmed, but in an entirely different manner than expected. Everything that has been said about the Bolshevism before the outbreak of the war with the Soviet Union has been thrown into the shadows by reality. Words and pictures are not enough to make the tragedy of Bolshevist reality believable to Europeans. This agrees with what our soldiers repeatedly say. It is impossible to portray conditions in the Soviet Union without oneself having seen and experienced them. The facade of Bolshevism. The bloody attacks of Bolshevism into Europe were always accompanied by wild agitation that claimed that the Soviet Union was the paradise of farmers and workers. In reality, this was propaganda, and all the cultural, social, and technical advances that Bolshevism claimed there were nothing but a deceptive facade that concealed the gray misery of daily life under Bolshevism. This is illustrated in the next room of the exhibition. In its center, there is an original Bolshevist monument mass produced from plaster on a wood frame. Because of their poor quality, they quickly began crumbling, a true example of Bolshevist culture. Such monuments intensifies the dirty and miserable atmosphere that all Soviet cities share, interrupted only by a few prestige buildings that display technical weaknesses. They are built for propaganda purposes and to deceive travelers from abroad. Now, from these two exhibits, it's pretty clear that long before the war with the Soviet Union, the Nazis had a clear anti-socialist propaganda machine going. Now, I didn't actually need to make this video. I have already proven in my last video that the Nazis were not socialists. This video is simply just me stating the obvious once again, because some people just don't seem to be capable of accepting facts. However, I'm gonna end this video on a very interesting question. If the Nazis were in fact socialists, why is it they were so supported by capitalists? Capitalists such as Henry Ford was a great admirer of the Nazis. In 1938, the year of the Kristallnacht, Ford was awarded the Grand Cross of the German Eagle, the highest civilian award given by the Nazis. And Ford's company collaborated with the Nazis as late as August 1942. General Motors, Standard Oil, ITT, and Chase National Bank, later Chase Manhattan Bank, among others, also had major financial investments and collaborations with Nazi Germany. Even J. Edgar Hoover, the first director of the FBI, and we all know how much of an anti-communist he was, admired the Nazis. He was even a pen pal of Heinrich Himmler. Hoover even continued communication with Nazi police until December 4th of 1941. The Nazis were not left-wing. Their economic policies speak against that kind of idea. Their propaganda machine began turning out anti-socialist messages long before the war with the Soviet Union. And capitalists, as well as virulent anti-communists, all supported the Nazis from the world over. Right, so now this video is out of the way, and now I can finally move on to my next topic. My next video is going to be about the so-called heritability of IQ. Thank you for watching. Bye.